You know that feeling, waking up in the middle of the night totally frozen with this gut-wrenching sense that you are not alone in the room. For thousands of years, we've called it a demon, a hag, a ghost. Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain and look at the biology behind that terrifying experience. And let's just cut right to the chase with a conclusion that honestly might be even creepier than any ghost story you've ever heard. Because that monster you see in the dark, the one that has you paralyzed with fear, it's a biological projection of yourself.
So, before we get into all the cool neuroscience, let's just sit with the experience itself, the raw, visceral horror of it all. Just picture it. Your eyes snap open. You can see your bedroom. Everything's just where you left it. You are 100% awake. But when you try to move, to even lift a finger, nothing. Your body is completely locked down. And that's when the real terror kicks in, because you feel it. There's a presence in the room with you. And so often, there's this crushing weight on your chest.
Now here's what's so wild about this. It feels like something is attacking you from the outside, right? But what's really happening is an internal system error. This isn't a haunting, it's a glitch. A bug in the very hardware and software that's running your body.
And don't think for a second this is some super rare thing. Nope. Studies show that about 7.6% of people will go through this at some point. And get this, for students, that number jumps to over 28%. This is a profoundly human experience, which really begs the question, what in the world is actually happening inside our brains?
To understand the glitch, we first have to appreciate the absolutely brilliant safety system our brain has running in the background every single night.
So when you're in REM sleep, that's when your dreams get really vivid, your brain activates something called REM atonia. It's basically a kill switch for your voluntary muscles. It's the only thing that stops you from, literally trying to fly or punch a monster in your sleep and waking up with a broken hand. It's a feature, not a bug. And this is how it works. It's this amazing chemical chain of command. Deep down in your brainstem, a little spot called the subcoeruleus fires up. It sends a signal to another area, the ventromedial medulla, telling it to get to work. That area then floods your spinal cord with two powerful chemicals, GABA and glycine. And those chemicals basically tell your motor neurons, everybody stand down. It chemically locks your body in place.
So here's the problem. In sleep paralysis, the timing gets all messed up. There's a desynchronization. The lights flick on in the command center, your conscious mind, but down in the engine room, the brainstem hasn't switched the kill switch back off yet. So you are awake and aware, but your body is still in total lockdown.
Okay, so that explains the paralysis. But where does the ghost come from? I mean, the actual feeling of a presence. This is where the science gets really, really weird, because scientists didn't just study this. They figured out how to create it in a lab. It turns out this intruder hallucination comes from a very specific spot in your brain called the Temporal Parietal Junction, or TPJ for short. The best way to think about the TPJ is as your brain's internal GPS for your sense of self. It's constantly taking in data to create that seamless feeling that you are right here, inside your body.
So check this out. In a landmark experiment in Switzerland, a team led by Dr. Olaf Blank applied a tiny electrical current to the TPJ of a patient who was wide awake. The result? It was instantaneous. She immediately reported a shadow person standing right behind her. They literally summoned the ghosts on demand.
But here is where it gets completely mind-bending. The shadow person wasn't just standing there, it was mimicking her. When she sat up, it sat up. When she hugged her knees, it hugged its knees. The demon was a perfect, spooky echo of her own body's position. This was the smoking gun. The intruder is a displaced projection of your brain's own body map. You are quite literally being haunted by yourself.
So we've got the presence explained. But what about the other classic symptoms? Let's take apart the rest of this so-called demon.
Yeah, this is maybe the most terrifying part of the whole experience for a lot of people. That sensation of being held down, of being suffocated. People call it the incubus. So why is that so common?
Well, it's another brilliant but totally terrifying trick of the brain. See, when you're in that state, the voluntary muscles you use to breathe, the ones in your chest, they're paralyzed too. You wake up in a panic and you instinctively try to take a huge gasp of air. Your brain is screaming the command breathe deeply, but it's getting zero feedback that the muscles are responding. So to solve this paradox, I'm telling my chest to move, but it's not moving, your brain invents the most logical explanation it can. Something heavy must be sitting on me. It actually hallucinates the weight to make the sensory data make sense.
And its biological experience is so consistent across humanity that it's created this incredible global collection of monsters. In Newfoundland, it's the old hag. In Japan, kanashibari, which means being bound by metal. In Mexico, they say the dead climbed atop me. The biological script is exactly the same, everywhere you go. Culture just provides a different costume for the monster.
But when you pull all of this together, what it reveals about our own consciousness, about our sense of self, that's maybe the most profound part of this whole story.
See, we all walk around every day with this deep, unshakable feeling that we're a single, unified self that lives somewhere behind our eyes looking out. But neuroscientists and philosophers have a name for this. They call it an ego tunnel. It's a simulation. It's a useful user interface your brain creates so you can navigate the world, but it's not reality itself.
And sleep paralysis, well, it's a rare and terrifying moment where that simulation breaks down. It's like a glitch in the matrix. You get a peek under the hood. The experience proves that your brain can generate a version of you that feels like it's in a different place than your body. It reveals the seams in the very fabric of your reality.
So if you take away one thing, let it be this. The shadow figure, the old hag, the demon on your chest, it's not some monster from another dimension. It is a rendering error in the incredibly complex software that generates your own consciousness.
Which, of course, leaves us with one last, very unsettling question. When the paralysis finally breaks and the ghost fades away, and you go back to your normal, everyday sense of self, how do you really know that the simulation you've just returned to is the real one?